Before I get into this story, I have one question to ask. Does this look like a white man on your screen? I'll give you a couple seconds to discuss it amongst yourselves because I honestly want to know your answer. Does this look like a white man on your screen? The reason why I ask that is because this man, whose name is 20, his name is 20, I was about to give his age, he's 20 years old, but his name is Donovan Johnson. He's out of Boston. About like over a year ago, he was apprehended falsely while the police were in pursuit of a white male suspect. And I guess there's something is wrong with their eyes because they apprehended him. That's why I was asking, does this look like a white man on your screen? Honest question. But I'm going to go ahead now and get into this article and see what they're talking about. A suburban Boston police officer who was pursuing a white suspect pinned a 20-year-old black man to the ground as he was walking home and placed a knee on the man's neck despite having no evidence that he was involved in any crime, according to a federal civil rights lawsuit filed Wednesday. Donovan Johnson was minutes away from his home after leaving work in February 2021 when a white officer who had been chasing the white suspect ran up to Johnson, drew his gun, and threw him onto the snow-covered ground face first. The lawsuit filed against the town of Arlington, Massachusetts, and 3 of its officers alleges. The lawsuit says that the officer at one point pinned Johnson to the ground by placing a knee on Johnson's neck. Notice ever since the whole thing that happened with George Floyd, a lot of these cops just love putting their knee or foot on black people's neck. They enjoy doing that. Rarely do you ever, if you ever, see them doing that to anybody else. The complaint says Johnson yelled, "I can't breathe," but the officer continued to pin Mr. Johnson to the ground with his knee, while the white suspect police had been pursuing was left unattended. So he could have easily got away. The lawsuit filed in Boston federal court alleges that police violated Johnson's constitutional rights when they stopped him, searched him, handcuffed him, and placed him in the back of a cruiser before releasing him with no charges. Johnson said in an interview that the incident took such an emotional toll on him that he struggled to manage his daily life to the point that he almost lost his job as a grant administrator for a hospital. "I was wrongfully arrested and wrongfully searched just because of the fact that he thought I was the person that he was chasing down." Actually, to Donovan Johnson, it's because in America, you as a black man, no matter who they're going after, you were a target regardless. One thing I forgot to ask at the beginning of the video when I was talking about, does this look like a white man in this picture? He couldn't even pass. Even with his skin tone, he couldn't even pass. And that hair, oh, definitely not. Arlington Police Chief Julie Flaherty said in an email that police couldn't comment as neither police nor the town had yet been served the lawsuit. And they probably won't ever be at this point. Johnson's lawyers say an internal investigation, of course they're investigating themselves, found that the officers violated several department policies and procedures. One of Johnson's attorneys, Marion Albert of Lawyers for Civil Rights, said they hope the case brings systematic changes to eradicate racial profiling practices in the department, which I doubt it will. All people should feel safe in their own communities. Mr. Johnson's rights were violated within view of his home. And this is exactly the type of police misconduct that fuels the mistrust between communities of color and law enforcement. And those are their words, might I add. Police were initially called to an Arlington hotel about a man seen there who the staff believed was previously involved in the theft of televisions, the lawsuit says. The white man was known to police for prior criminal acts, and when officers arrived at the hotel, Officer Stephen Conroy showed a photo of the man to the front desk clerk, who said it appeared to be the same person. Police went to the room to investigate, but the man escaped and they began to chase him, according to the lawsuit. Johnson was almost to his Somerville home, saw the man jog past him before Conroy approached and yelled at both men to get on the in excess expletive ground. But 9 times out of 10, he said, "Get on the effing ground," or the floor, I should say. The white suspect got on his knees, but Johnson stayed standing, the lawsuit says. After that, Johnson says Conroy drew his gun, threw him to the ground, and pinned him down with a knee on his neck. Now, keep this in mind. They were looking for a white male suspect. Now, the only reason he got caught up in this is because the person that they were looking for ran past him, so he didn't know that that's who. He said he was just jogging, so he didn't think anything of it. It's the person just casually just running past him, and he just happened to be there. But they just happened to just go after him too. But the thing is, one, you're only looking for one suspect. Why were you going after two or another person? And two, the suspect was white. Does he look like a white guy? Even if the sun, even as light as his skin tone is, and the sun could have been out beaming, I would never think that, look at this guy and say he was white. And then look at how aggressive they were with him opposed to the actual suspect that they were apprehending or supposed to be apprehending. They treated him like he was a suspect. Another officer who arrived in a cruiser recognized the white man and put him in handcuffs, and the suspect told the officer he didn't know Johnson, according to a lawsuit. A third officer who arrived immediately jumped on Johnson to help Conroy hold him down, according to the complaint. Even the suspect said that he didn't know Donovan Johnson. Basically, the suspect gave him the clear. He's like, I don't know him. Like, I operated alone. But they still acted aggressive towards him anyway. You see, the other cop pulled up and helped him do the same thing. Like, literally, this could have been another George Floyd incident. Lawyers for Johnson say the officers had no reason to believe Johnson was involved in any crime. Police had a photo of the white suspect they were looking for. Johnson and the other man both told officers they didn't know each other, and nothing in the investigation indicated that there was more than one male suspect involved. The complaint says Johnson was released at the hotel after its staff told officers they had never seen him before. Police left him to find his way home, to find his own way home. After they put him through all of that, well, first off, I would never even want to get in a police cruiser that had any one of them in it, because they might actually take me out for real. But this guy went through it all because the suspect ran past him. But it should have never got to that point. Again, they were only looking for one guy, a white guy. Why did they go after two? And they got aggressive with the very obvious non-white guy. It took the suspect and the hotel staff to clear this man's name, at least with them. And again, this didn't happen in the South. I have to throw that in there because, you know, it happened in Massachusetts, in a place called Arlington. Didn't know there was in Arlington, Massachusetts, but then again, I don't live anywhere near that state. Again, that more of that racism in the North. But like I said, these cops knew he wasn't the suspect and still treated him like he was the suspect anyway. They treated him worse than the actual person they were pursuing. And they knew the person that they were going after was a white guy. And they knew this guy clearly is not white. And like I said before, he could not even pass. Like, no one would look at him and mistake him for a white guy. There's no way. I think what it really is and what it boils down to is the fact that they were utterly embarrassed about the situation, so they continue to just go ahead with it anyway. But deep down, they probably most likely have an intense hatred for black people. That's really all another thing that it can boil down to. Because you can't sit up here and tell me with a straight face that they thought this was a suspect. And they also had a picture of the suspect. All you had to do was say, oh, this is not the guy, but they continued to go along with it anyway because they wanted to terrorize a black man that day. And unfortunately, they were successful. But fortunately for him, they were not successful in deleting him, which it could have got to that point. So I hope he sues that entire department until there's nothing left. Unfortunately, the money that he will get paid, if he does get anything, is going to come out of the city. Or the taxpayers, I should say, because that's usually how it is. But that's going to conclude my assessment of this story right here. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. If you are new, make sure you have that bell clicked to be notified whenever I upload a new video, go live. Have the same things turned on with your mobile devices as well. All links will be down in the description.